baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Welcome into On Deck. I'm Tyler Redmond. As always, thank you so much for checking out the channel. I do appreciate it. While you're here, make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date with everything going on here at On Deck and, of course, with the Atlanta Braves. Now, after a grueling series between the Giants and the Dodgers, it was finally decided in Game 5 that it would be the Dodgers moving on to the NLCS, which, of course, sets up a rematch between the Braves and the Dodgers from last year's NLCS, where the Dodgers, of course, went on to win and then went on to win the World Series. Now, I know a lot of you guys have wanted to know what I thought could happen in this series. Now, we're here, right? This is what we've waited on. It's here. The Dodgers and the Braves are set to start Game 1 tomorrow night in the NLCS. So I went ahead and put together a series preview for you, and we're going to start out with the pitching. So what you're looking at right now is the NLDS roster for pitchers. And look, this is not the NLCS roster. This is not the official roster that's going to come out later. But I think most of our playmakers are here. You may see a couple of changes, but right now I think this is what you got, right? Game 1, without a doubt, to me, is going to be Max Fried. Game 2, Charlie Morton. Game 3, Ian Anderson. The Braves have come out and said as much, and I think that's going to be how it's going to go. The potential starters are the long relievers. Now, this is basically the guys that don't quite make the cut to be a certified starter at the moment. They have started this year, both of them, Huascar Ynoa and Drew Smyly. I think you're going to see these guys appear in some form or fashion, especially Ynoa, but I don't think they're going to start a game. Unless it's Game 4, just to bridge that gap. At that point, I think you'll see Max Fried and Morton go on short rest. But those are the guys that I think could be long relievers if need be. Past that, relievers. Tyler Matzik, without a doubt, is going to make this roster. Luke Jackson is going to make this roster. A.J. Minter will be there. Will Smith, certified closer. Make no mistake about it, he is the guy that the Braves are going to roll with. Jacob Webb, Dylan Lee, and Jesse Chavez. Now, I think Chavez is safe, but Jacob Webb and Dylan Lee, I think, could be shifted around. If they're going to make a change, these are the two guys that I think they're going to change. Dylan Lee is, of course, a rookie. He had a great year in AAA. That's why he's on this NLDS roster. But if you see a change, it's probably going to be him, and it will be either Richard Rodriguez or Chris Martin. And I would say the same for Jacob Webb. Spencer Strider has also been considered, but I don't know that you're going to see either one of him or Dylan Lee. I think in a long 7-game series like we're in, I don't think you're going to see that. Now, on the Dodgers side of the ball, again, NLDS roster, things could shift around, and we'll see what happens. But in Game 1, it will be Max Scherzer. Now, that is tentative, technically, but Dave Roberts did come out and say that Max Scherzer is still set to start Game 1, even though he closed yesterday's game. So we'll see what happens there, but I do think Max Scherzer will take the mound. If you know anything about Max Scherzer, he's not going to want to give that ball up. So I do see him taking Game 1 and pitching it for the Dodgers. So again, Game 1, Max Fried versus Max Scherzer. In Game 2 for the Dodgers, it will be Walker Buehler taking on Charlie Morton, and that will be a fun one to watch. Big game Charlie versus what before this year was probably the Dodgers' ace, even over Clayton Kershaw. He's been their young talent. He's everything that Max Fried has been for the Braves, if not more. He has meant that much to that staff. So that will be a fun one to watch, and hopefully the Braves can get a win there. But Game 3, Ian Anderson versus a big question mark. I hate to say it, but the Dodgers have a few choices here. Julio Urias, Tony Gonsolin, or David Price. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate David Price. I think you'll likely see Tony Gonsolin in a Game 4 type role. He is a probable starter, long reliever, and so is David Price. But I think Julio Urias gets that start, and there's a few reasons behind that. Mainly, his ability to show up in big-time situations. He threw 4 innings with only 1 run pitched against the Giants yesterday. Last year, he threw 3 innings scoreless versus the Braves to finish them off in Game 7. And look, the caveat to that is you can't use him as fluidly if he's a starter, right? If he's going to start Game 3, you can't put him in the bullpen in Game 1 or even necessarily Game 4, right? And that's the role that he's been given primarily in the postseason. Not just this one, but years prior. He's been able to do that. And we'll see what happens, but the Dodgers, like the Braves, have had to work around a lot of issues. Now they have a new one in Clayton Kershaw being down. That's why I think Urias is going to get this start. Now, they may decide not to do that. He may sit in the pen and be a long reliever, but I don't know. I think it doesn't set up well necessarily for the Dodgers to have to make that decision. It's a hard decision to make, but we'll see what happens. Again, I think he gets that start. And it's important to realize also, he had a start versus the Braves earlier this year, back in June. He had 5 innings pitched, only 1 run given up. That led to a win for the Dodgers at Truist Park. They were the away team, and they were able to win that game, and a large part due to his appearance. So if you see Urias as a starter, it does not necessarily mean that the Dodgers are losing something. In fact, they're gaining a quality start, I think, for Julio Urias. He's had the Braves number in the past couple of years. And interestingly enough, he'd be squaring off against Ian Anderson, who is the very man who he had the loss to earlier this year. So again, the matchups make sense. I just don't see anyone else taking the ball right now over Julio Urias for Game 3. But we'll see what happens. And if you're looking for an Ian Anderson win over the Dodgers, you're going to have to go back to last year in the postseason, the NLCS Game 2. He had 4 innings pitched. He did not qualify for the win, but the Braves did go on to win that game. 4 innings pitched, and then he handed it off to the pen in Game 2. So what about Charlie Morton, right? I know that's kind of what we're the new piece here. Charlie Morton has actually had a lot of successful appearances versus the Dodgers in his career. The Braves' first victory over LA in 2021 was with Charlie Morton starting. And in that game, he had 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts, as opposed to Kershaw, who gave up 5 earned runs. That led to a 6-4 win for Atlanta. But even in losses, Charlie is able to minimize damage against this lineup, which is a huge deal in the postseason where anything can happen. On August 31st, we lost this game, but Morton had 6 innings pitched and 1 earned run. The Braves fall, but Morton minimized damage. That is a trait that's going to carry through here. Let's throw it back further. 2017, you already know what's coming. 2017 World Series, Game 4, Dodgers versus Astros. And I know you're not going to want me to include this because it's the Astros, but this is pitching. No cheating involved here, so just take that into consideration. Morton lost this game. They went on to lose this game, but Morton did not. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. It was the bullpen that lost it in late innings for the Astros that year. But Morton got the job done. You know who else is like that? Max Fried, our Game 1 starter, is a lot like that. Winning Game 1 last year in the NLCS in comfortable fashion, he pitched 6 innings, 1 earned run, and 9 strikeouts. He toppled Walker Buehler in that game. His first start versus LA this season, on June 6th, he topped reigning Cy Young Award winner Trevor Bauer to have a win there. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. And much like Morton, sure, he can be defeated, and the Dodgers have been able to do that this year, but he is still effective in those losses. On September 1st, he had 6 innings pitched and 2 earned runs and 9 strikeouts. Even though the Braves lost, it was that common trait. You're seeing him minimize damage, and he's able to do that. The Braves' chances of winning this series relies so heavily on their starters. Those starters being, of course, Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, and Max Fried. So what about the pen, right? What about the bullpen? I think, without a doubt, again, these are not the final NLCS rosters, but I don't even have to look at the final NLCS rosters to know this. Without a doubt, the Dodgers have the advantage on the bullpen side of things. I know our bullpen has been great, which it has been. It has been absolutely magnificent, especially compared to what we had in the regular season. They have come out and shown it, especially against Milwaukee. The Braves bullpen, we'll go ahead and give them credit. The Braves bullpen only gave up 2 runs in the 4-game stretch against Milwaukee. Those 2 runs belong to Rowdy Tellez and his 2-run homer off of Huascar Ynoa in Game 4. And look, the bullpen success is a big reason that the Braves moved on past Milwaukee. Make no mistake about it. If the pen is to have the same success, the Braves are set up great. I don't know that I necessarily trust it, but I will say this. Tyler Matzik, if all else fails, give the ball to Tyler Matzik, because that dude has been absolutely spectacular. He's been able to come out and just neutralize an offense, and hopefully he'll be able to do that against the stout Dodger offense. All right, so what about offense? In the Braves and Brewers series preview, I broke down the difference between the first and second half Braves, because I think it is an important thing to differentiate if you're going to talk about this Braves team in any stat line. I really do, because they're 2 different teams. So with that said, if you want the full breakdown, go check out my other video between the Braves and the Brewers from last week. But for right now, we're not going to rehash that. We're just going to compare the stats from the second half on. And I think we all have heard by now the Dodgers have a steep advantage in the record line. Dodgers second half, they're 50-21. The Braves second half, they're 43-29. Now, I'm going to be honest, though. I don't really care about the record book. I really don't. I don't care what the record is. We're in the postseason. Every team in the postseason is good. And the Braves have had a lot to work around, as have the Dodgers, but I just don't think the records are going to show how close these two teams are. I don't. I don't mind comparing actual stats on the field. I don't mind comparing that at all. Before I mention this, it's important to know that Jorge Solaire and Max Muncie will not be included for right now. At least Jorge Solaire is down with COVID. Max Muncie is out for the postseason. So with that said, they both have been replaced or will be replaced, and we'll see what happens there. In terms of Jorge Solaire and his replacement, I think it's likely going to be Jock Peterson in the starting lineup. I don't see why it would be anyone else. I think the Pearls necklace has taken the world by storm, and I think Jock Peterson belongs in the starting lineup. Now, with that said, as a team, let's take a look at the stats for the second half. As a team, home runs. The Braves are first in the National League in the second half. The Dodgers are second. RBIs. The Braves are first in the National League. The Dodgers are third. Now, those both are led by the Braves. But in walks, the Dodgers are going to have that lead. They are 7th in the National League. The Braves are 11th. They don't walk a lot. I think we already knew that. We discussed that last week in the Braves and Brewers series preview. They don't walk a lot. So with that, their on-base percentage is down. The Braves are 12th in on-base percentage with a .317 on base. The Dodgers are 9th with a .319. I think everybody just assumes, especially in the national media, that the Dodgers are going to come in and beat the Braves. But this is going to be an evenly matched series. I really think so. And if it's not, I'd be very surprised. But with that said, none of these stats matter. None of them. They are irrelevant at this point. All they do is predict the past. So what matters is what happens over the next few days and in this next series. It's 7 games. This is not studying what could happen long term. This isn't mapping it out and seeing what could happen over a season. This is mapping out what could happen over 7 games. So I could sit here and I could tell you what I thought was going to happen. But at the end of the day, guys, it's who shows up in the postseason. Anything can happen in the postseason. So hopefully it goes the Braves' way this year. Hopefully we can head to a World Series and be able to watch our Atlanta Braves perform there. And, I know we missed out on an All-Star game this year, but maybe we can get a couple of World Series games played in Atlanta. Look, these teams have had a lot of the same struggles. Major players getting injured and going down. For the Braves, Ronald Acuna. It doesn't get any bigger than that. For the Dodgers, right before the postseason, Max Muncy, Clayton Kershaw. These are all very good teams in the postseason, but these two teams are also very good. And I think it's going to be a very evenly matched series in this postseason, and much like last year's was. But with all the issues that they've had, the injuries, the off-the-field issues, and the things to work around, both of these teams have made it back to the NLCS. And I think it's going to be one for the ages. I'm ready for it. I hope you are too. Make sure that you are here. We will try to give you as much coverage here at On Deck as we can. So make sure you are paying attention. I will be at Game 1 tomorrow night. For you guys, come see me. Come say hello. I'll get a picture with you like I try to do with most of you guys that come and see me at games. But keep in mind, I know that I said that this is going to be evenly matched, but one of these two teams does have a chip on its shoulder. Make no mistake about it. They're coming to win, and that's the Atlanta Braves. So hopefully that happens. With that out of the way, guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. I do appreciate it. Again, come see me at Game 1 tomorrow night. Hopefully you'll be there. And with that out of the way, I'll see you next time right here at On Deck.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.